Well, it's hard to believe, but Forward Church is celebrating our second anniversary. And as we celebrated 1 year, we finished that year off with a call to true worship, where we looked at what it means to really be true worshipers. Then we kicked off our second year with a series called Breakthrough, where we had 21 days of fasting. And throughout that 21 days of fasting, we were doing nothing more than just seeking God's face and drawing nearer to Him to kick off the new year. So it's really exciting for me to hear the stories of what God has done over the last year, and we have some of those stories for you to listen to, and I hope you'll enjoy as you hear about some of the things God has been doing in the life of Forward, and as we celebrate this second year in the life of the church.
We've been at Forward Church for a little over a year and a half, probably almost right at 2 years, since the beginning.
Mm-hmm. We got an email one night from Rachel saying that they're thinking about, they've been led by God to start a church, and they're really considering it, and they asked us if we'd be one, wanting to go, because at that time, we were going around visiting churches and just didn't really find anything that we liked that, kind of hit our hearts. And I remember writing her back and saying, that's the best news I've heard in a long time.
What makes Forward a special place for us is just walking in Sunday morning, having people greeting us constantly. Just feels like a big family. People that you've met, maybe been going for 2 or 3 weeks now.
As most of everybody in here, they know they can't get through the door without I give them a hug. And all my grandchildren and most of the kids here call me Pappy, so they know that Pappy is going to be at the door.
Our experience here has been a lot to do with family. We decided to stay because we wanted to come to a place where it felt like family, where we could talk to anybody here about anything.
I've just never been here in my walk with God before, and being at Forward has just made a huge difference. It's allowed me to worship and be who I was created to be.
Through a lot of prayer and even times of fasting and really talking with the leadership team, we just really felt that God was calling on Blake Bells to be our youth pastor, and had some conversations with him, and it was just really neat to see how God worked in his life to bring him on staff here at Forward.
I'd been sitting down just listening to some things, and I had heard, or I felt like God was calling me to do more. And it was interesting because I was in the office with Pastor Neil, and he'd asked me, do you have ever felt called to the ministry? And at that point, I knew that I was called to do more than what I was currently doing, but I didn't know what that looked like. And so it was brought to us, the youth ministry was brought to our attention. And originally, that I wasn't really sure if that's what God wanted me to do, because I didn't feel like I was good enough, to do that. And then the reality of it is that I'm not good enough. But I truly believe that God likes to take us and likes to show us how powerful He is by using us in things that we're literally not good enough to do, but through Him, we're able to do it.
Yeah, Blake is just rock solid, and he really relates to the kids, and they respect him and they love him, and he's really brought an element of leadership that was really needed, and he's so open to new ideas, and he's a lot of fun, but he always gets back to the biblical teaching, and he's just rock solid.
When we did that 21-day fast at the beginning of the year called Breakthrough, we had some great stories come out of that. And one of the stories I'd really love for you to hear is the story that Brad and Susie Coates have to tell.
The series on fasting was probably the most impactful for me. I have never learned a lot about fasting, so to be taught that and to actually put it in action and go through that week of fasting. Neil likes to sometimes spring challenges on us, so that was a little interesting.
Having a child and everything, we tried for 18 months with not really handing that over to God. We tried on our own, and until we fasted, nothing changed really. We went to the doctors and they prescribed this, they prescribed that, and so on. And the week after we fasted, it was like a day or two later, we found out we were pregnant. And it was pretty amazing just to kind of see the power in the name of Jesus.
Here at Forward Church, our mission statement is that we exist to worship God and make disciples. And throughout this year, we've really been focusing in on what that means to really, truly worship God and to make disciples.
If you're looking for a place to come to church, like we were. We'd been married a year and we're kind of just floating. and it was God's saving grace that brought us here. And any preconceived notions or any built-up resentment towards church that you have, you come here and you'll find out that you're wrong.
Forward Church is called forward because we truly believe that in life you're either moving forward towards God or you're moving away from Him. And it's our desire that we are always taking steps towards Him and moving forward.